Today we're making and testing stage blood, but not just any kind of stage blood, barbecue stage blood. Not only does it look real, it's incredibly tasty, and you can adjust it for every flavor profile. Oh, and we'll also look into squib bags, bloody pills, syringes, and knives. Interested? Here we go. I was developing this bleeding prop knife, and I needed a blood to go through this tube and from here. That's a separate build. I'll post it up there when it's available, if it's not available already. And then I got into developing these gel packs for your bleeding mouth, the little squib packs, and then syringes. Lots of possibilities here. But I didn't really like any of the recipes. Some of them, especially if you're gonna put them in your mouth, you gotta be careful what you're doing there. I was actually making a barbecue sauce and I was like, holy heck, there's the connection. When I was a kid, we used tomato ketchup all the time for fake blood. So we're gonna ramp that up, get the right color and texture and liquidity, and then I'll demonstrate to you all the different options going forward. You'll probably find that most of these supplies are in your house already, and if they're not, they're easy to find in any store for like under $1 for almost everything here, except for maybe these cinnamon pills. Those are a little pricey. So we'll do a top-down shot, and I'll show you the various recipes, then we'll get into the splatter. Just like there's different kinds of barbecue sauce, there's different kinds of blood. This one I made a couple days ago as a test run. Was really pleased with it. In order to get different splatter patterns or different qualities of the blood, you can thicken this up or thin it out. You don't need all of these supplies. These are just options you can use. If you want a more spicy barbecue blood, go with sriracha. Standard barbecue sauce. I'm using my Kid Reliable tomato ketchup, little chili powder and cinnamon for thickness and kind of a depth. And then I use gel food coloring. You could go with the regular food coloring, you just probably need to use a little bit more. Some sort of pancake syrup. This is thin and runny. It's a little better than Caro syrup, and it's got a little bit of a darkness to it that helps bring in a more realistic quality of the blood. And then I use water and a combination of the syrup as a thinner. So let's get started. You can get food coloring like this. It comes in the primary or basic colors of blue, yellow, green, and red. I've tried using green and yellow. I was actually using mustard instead of yellow, and I really wasn't happy with putting those combinations in. I think you get a better depth and texture with the darkened syrup and also the darkened barbecue sauce. The difference between tomato ketchup and sriracha is subtle, but it's a big deal. This almost looks like blood coming out of the container. We're going to start with a basic sweet barbecue blood. So we got a tablespoon and a half or 2 tablespoons of the tomato ketchup to about 1 tablespoon of the syrup. This is sugar-free. You could go with the regular one if you want. That just gives it a interesting quality. You're going to say that looks a lot like ketchup, and you're right. And this is where the barbecue sauce comes in. Probably using a half teaspoon. This is all kind of winging it, maybe for wings later. You can see that gives it a little bit of texture. This is kind of uniform. Barbecue sauce in general has little specks and things like that in there. Now that's pretty good. So we're gonna take and get a little bit of cinnamon. By the way, barbecue sauce with cinnamon, great stuff. To add a little bit of thickness and depth to the barbecue blood. All right, so now you got a little bit of particulate in there. Really makes it look interesting. If for some reason you didn't want that much particulate in there, just squirt in some more ketchup. What I found was when I'm using this gel, it has a tendency to make this stuff pretty runny. So I'm just gonna squirt some in there, 3-4 drops maybe. And you can see how red that is. So watch what it does to your barbecue sauce. Is that making it more bloody? But you can see it also runs out and thins out the sauce. It's got to be some of the best smelling blood out there. So let's just give it a test. Not bad. Taste profile, pretty good. I'm gonna add a little bit of chili powder. Like, ooh, that's probably too much. We'll see. This gives it a little bit of depth. Now see, that's clumping up a little bit more. And you can see maybe it's getting a little darker, but many different levels of color in there. So what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna add a little bit more, maybe 2 more drops of the food coloring. There, not bad. Look at that blood. Barbecue sauce. So you can see it kind of glistening through. Let's do the skin test. Not bad. I kind of like the little specks in there. Makes it look dirty. Maybe you're picking up something as it's getting cut. Now, different ways to apply the blood. You can use a Q-tip, string it out, or cotton ball. Yeah, I like that, yeah. If you don't get it off quickly, like any barbecue sauce, tomato ketchup, it can do a little bit of staining action. And I found if you use hand sanitizer, and we probably all have tons of that on hand, that helps clean up the stain. See, not as bad as it was. So a couple rounds of hand sanitizer, you can neutralize the stain that comes out of your barbecue blood. Here I'm using a syringe to just kind of give some details, maybe a big thing here like this. Then you can hold your hand and do this and just kind of come down here, splatter it around. Depending on how much knife cutting you're doing, you can use this bloody knife that I'm developing, or I'll show you a secret. You can take a syringe and just lay the blood on one side like that, turn the blade over, it looks pretty clean, and then just slice. And you get a pretty good effect of slashing. But then you're going to run out of blood. So that's why I came up with this bloody knife alternative. There's a little thing that goes here. Check out up there if you want to see what that build looks like. Here's the blood I did the other day. It was sitting in the refrigerator. It's a little thicker. That's a little runnier. But if you really want to thin it out, just take some of your blood, pour it in a separate container, and then hit it with some water. And that will really thin it out. That would be good for bleeding mouth shots. So let me show you how I made these blood packs. They're just those little jewelry bags you can get in any craft store. They come like this. You can actually just, got 150 of them for $1. Just open one corner. Now I want a little runny blood. So I'm going to go here with the watery blood. Suck it into the syringe. And then just take the jewelry bag and fill it up. And you could alternate. You could have some thick blood, thin blood. Shoot it in there. Seal it up. Blood packs. You can use those in your mouth. You can tape them to your body for little squib things. All sorts of different options there. So now I'll show you how I made these gel pills. I will tell you that they're pretty fragile. This one I made right before I started shooting, and it's really soft because they're designed to dissolve. And what I'm using here is these cinnamon dietary supplements. Don't use a drug that comes in a gel tab like this. Use something that's not going to hurt you like the cinnamon. And you can use the cinnamon in your blood. So don't be afraid to do that as a thickener instead of coming around and using your cinnamon spice or going out and getting one of these things. So you just open it like this, tap out as much cinnamon as you can, and then you might have to come in here with a toothpick and clean it the rest of the way out. And then you take your syringe, and I'm using the real liquidy blood for this application, and just fill it up. Kind of like you're piping a donut. And then I do the other side also. You don't have to, but fill it up most of the way. And then just put the two pieces together, and you're going to have a little overleak like that. Just wipe it off. For comparison purposes, this is the one I just did, and this is the one I did probably 10-15 minutes ago. You can see it's really getting loose. But these are great to put in your mouth, bite down on them, bloody mouth. And for those of you who like your blood a little spicier, go with sriracha. Now that's about a tablespoon of sriracha. Now this is a sweet sriracha, and it's got a whole different character to itself and makes a great marinade or barbecue sauce. The longer you let your blood sit, the redder it will become. Wow. That's really good blood. Barbecue sauce. Pretty spicy. We'll hit it a little bit more with some red. The red food coloring is what's getting all over my skin here, by the way. Gotta be careful with this stuff. 1, 2, 3 gelatinous red food coloring later. And you can watch the magic happen here as it turns into a more bloody sriracha. Now, if you didn't want to use water and you wanted a little more glistening, just add some more syrup. Wow, that's really good. And then I'm going to take some of the cinnamon from my pill extraction and mix it up some more. So there you go. 4 different kinds of blood with 4 different taste profiles. So the first up is sriracha. We're going to just drop it off here and then mess it up. It's like a blood barbecue art project. It's got a nice blood complexion. Here's the barbecue, and you can see we're applying it with the little bit of action from this balloon stirrer. The barbecue sauce compared to the sriracha blood is a little darker, got a different look to it. Now, let's do a comparison with the mostly tomato sauce. And we're going to use the fork this time. This is the aged blood. So just a subtly different profile. The tomato sauce has a tendency not to be as dark as the barbecue sauce. Almost looks like a strawberry sauce. This is a darker red. So what do you think? Which is your favorite blood barbecue sauce? Please post in the comments below. If you like prop builds, costumes, cosplay, designs of all kinds, making and breaking things, check out my channel and please subscribe, because you never know what you're gonna see.